From the author of Spinsterella, A Strange and Unusual Romance, comes Spellbound, a darker shade of black. Get Spellbound this Halloween in paperback and ebook at online booksellers everywhere. There's a misconception in the black community and parts of the goth subculture that black people can't be a part of the goth subculture. And that's not the case at all. African Americans have always been a part of the goth subculture since its inception in the 1970s, and there are many black people enjoying the darker side of life as part of the goth subculture. I know for a fact that I have seen many black goths at the library I go to here in the South Bronx, and I have seen many goths online when I post blogs to Tumblr. In addition, I've seen many black goth YouTube channels such as Gothic Soulflower, Vision in Pitch, Morella Reborn, and Rose Nocturnalia. So there are many black people out here participating in the goth subculture. However, most black goths don't get much coverage in the mainstream media. And I believe one of the reasons why many black goths don't get coverage in the mainstream media is because many in the black media believe that goth is a white thing. And again, that's not the case at all. Goth is an international subculture, and people all over the world are participating in the goth subculture. There are not only black goths, there are Hispanic goths, Asian goths, and even Muslim goths and Jewish goths. So there are people all over the world who are enjoying the darker side of life. However, because most in the black mainstream media don't want to cover the darker side of the black subcultures like goth, they don't get their stories told. Now, I've seen many black goths all around, and I have been aware of the black goth subculture for many, many years, in addition to the mainstream goth subculture. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to write books about the goth subculture featuring black heroines, because I wanted people to know that there were African Americans out here in the goth subculture. Because a lot of people need to understand that goth has nothing to do with color, and it is a lifestyle and a subculture that everyone should want to be a part of if they choose to be a part of it. And there is nothing wrong with that. You can still be black and goth. There is nothing wrong with that at all, because I have heard horror stories from many African Americans who have said that they have been persecuted for being black and goth, not only by their family, but by their peers in the community, and being told that they are acting white, they are trying to be white, and that's not the case at all. These are kids and adults who are just expressing themselves, and they should have the right to express themselves because that's their rights they were guaranteed under the United States Constitution. The right to the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if being goth is what makes people happy, then they should go out and be happy. Unfortunately, there are members in the African American community who believe that it is their right to make everybody conform to one standard of blackness. And that's a major issue in the African American community and even some parts of the goth subculture that really needs to be addressed, because I believe more black people would be part of the goth subculture if they did not fear persecution, ridicule, and criticism. Now, I look at the black goth subculture, and it really needs to be covered more often, and people need to start talking more about the black goth subculture, because we give all this coverage to hip-hop, R&B, and even other parts of the black culture, but we don't talk about subcultures such as black goth subculture in the mainstream media. That was one of the reasons why I wrote 2 novels about a black goth heroine, Spinsterella in 2015, and this year's Spellbound. And the main reason why I wrote Spellbound was to help young teenagers who wanted to be a part of the goth subculture see that there was a place for African Americans in the goth subculture. Because this story chronicles the baby back years of the young goth heroine, and I wanted to show her journey as she starts into the goth subculture and show that there is a place for African Americans in the goth subculture. The way I see it, everybody needs to see that goth is an international subculture and that there are places for everyone all over the world to be a part of it, including black people. And we really need to start talking more and more about the goth subculture to African Americans, because there are many African Americans who would enjoy the darker side of life, and they need to see that they can have that lifestyle as an alternative to be a part of if they choose to do so. Now, you can pick up Spellbound today in paperback, and it'll be coming to Kindle and Smashwords and Barnes& and Noble ebook format on Halloween.